JQ, dude, it's taken 4 years, 5 years to get to this point, but I finally got a whole live just about me last night. Did you see it?
I saw it. Do you have a boner now?
A little bit. You know, I'm just got an average size one, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, you know what? We got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to drop that intro.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this money-grabbing book racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. You know?
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory, but let me start that again.
Keep that in.
Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? This is episode number 180. I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great. Disappointment. And to my left, my virtual left, is the village idiot, Beaker Q. What's up, Beaker?
Looking at myself here in the video.
Mm-hmm.
And my girlfriend makes fun of me because I have Asian eyes. She calls me an Asian.
Mm-hmm.
Very racist of her.
I do not
because they're so small. And now with jet lag, they look even smaller than normal.
Oh, dude, I'm so tired. Dude, I'm sick. I've been sick since I left. Look, excuse me, hear my voice. Sick.
When I first arrived back home, I basically slept the whole night. Went to bed at 11 or 12 or something, woke up in the morning. I'm like, great, no jet lag. This past night, went to bed at midnight, woke up at 3, fell asleep again at 8 a.m. All fucked
I've just
up.
been sick.
Now I'm super tired.
I'm just sick, but I think it was I was just in that wind and cold the entire weekend and just talking into the mic. I have a newfound respect for guys like Lance and Jimmy Babcock and Scotty who talk all day. I need to get some advice from them.
You've lost your voice?
A little bit. Yeah, just coming back a little bit.
Fuck, that's never happened before. Talk all the time. Actually, you know what? We had a funny thing Pat said, a photographer, David's
what did he say?
Photographer. He said that after he knew you, for a few days there at the Airbnb, he said, Keenan, is that the guy who talks all the time and when he's not talking, he's snoring? Never shuts up. Literally never shuts up. When Keenan is awake, he just talks. Non-fucking stop. Talking. He can ask questions, answer your questions himself, and keep talking. It's amazing.
He said that all in Swedish?
If I go in science mode, if you ask me something, I go in science mode for 5 seconds, you will answer the question and keep talking. It's actually, like nothing happened.
You pretty much, when you go in science mode, you do drone on.
Yeah, and then when you fall asleep, you snore. So you're never quiet. He knew you for like 3 days and he already figured this out.
Fuck, I thought Per was my boy.
He is your boy. It was funny.
Anyway, what up, guys? Thank you for joining us here on the NNRC episode 180. We just back from RCGP. It was a cold, windy weekend. I had a blast. Shout out to all my Southeast family, to my Northeast family, and all the crazy Canadians that came down. I was so happy to be back in the Southeast. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun, even though I lost my voice and it was cold and it was windy. And I'm not happy with a lot of things, but I did enjoy myself. I really did enjoy myself. And I just wanted to shout out to the Southeast RC community for being so hospitable to us, coming out and racing with us, and to all the people that came down to watch the race and all that type of stuff. Thank you. Those who came down and showed the NNRC, myself, some love. It was great to see you guys. I love the Southeast, and I can't wait to get back there. I hope we do another RCGP there. It would be great. And I think I want to go to Fall Brawl this year. So, yeah, I just like being in there. It's a community that I've kind of gotten to know really like intimately. I know a lot of the people, and they're just very nice people and big supporters of the NNRC. And, yeah, even in Northeast, guys, and the Canadians, there's a lot of Canadians there, Joseph. It was like 10 Canadians there. And you know what? Before I go anywhere, before we get into the nitty-gritty, because, I got a lot to say today because I talk a lot, I wanted to shout out to all of the RC2 dudes at RCGP and all of the juniors, because for me, the juniors, Cade Burnett, Joey Bardone, and all them guys, Jermaine Robinson, those guys, David Olson, those guys were the superstars of this race, in my opinion. And, Cole Caston, all very good, all good, fast racers. And before we get into the nitty-gritty, I just want to say, top 5 in RC2, all 21 and under. Garth Horn. What's up, Garth? That's Aiden Horn's brother, older brother, but he looks younger. His name Austin, but I call him Garth because he looks like Garth from Wayne's World. So I was happy to see that. That tells me that we have a good contingency of young racers coming up in each region. So the future of RC is looking good because, us old guys, we're going to die here soon. So, we need these young guys to come. There's a lot of young guys at this race, Joseph. There's a lot of young guys. I was happy to see that. Lots of young kids at this race.
Even Degani in RC2 was saying that there's so many fast kids. These damn kids. Video game generation, kicking his ass. Yeah.
Hey, dude, they put on a show, man. Honest, to me, that was the best racing. I mean, yes, I'm biased because I was calling it. Which I'm a little... I think I'm liking that. I get to talk. Right. Actually, I got tired of talking.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
Anyway, I want to say thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world. I know you guys see me freaking out on Facebook lately. Don't worry, I'm fine. I'm not emotional.
Gonna get into that.
And I want to shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you to all the patrons I see, that support the NNRC. We can't do it without you. Thank you for all your support, and thank you to all the sponsors that decide to use this platform as a way to promote their products. That's the invisiblespeed.com. The online course is now in Spanish, right, Joseph?
That's right. Orders have begun already. People have started ordering. Robert has started translating videos. So what we're doing is we put the course online now. He translated the first texts and made a promotional video in Spanish. And now what we'll do is, as course videos are translated, they'll be re-edited, uploaded, and the name of the video will be changed into Spanish. So that's how people who buy it will know, like, okay, you have a new video to watch. So they can watch the videos in English now if they want, but eventually they will all be made in Spanish with Robert doing the talking instead of me.
Awesome. If you guys want to get an invisiblespeed.net, I'm telling you, get on the online course. A lot of people have your books. A lot of people in the Southeast had your books, so that was good to see as well.
Yep.
And good stuff.
Another thing I'll just remind people, we haven't done it yet because this Spanish course came up, but I also have video of Alexander Hagberg building the X-Ray 10-scale touring car and 12-scale on-road car. So,
he's been hitting the scene hard here too.
Yeah, so we'll also, and he also goes over that basic setup stuff in videos. So I'll have to edit those videos and put them up, and we make an on-road update for that course also. So this is, it's work in progress, but eventually what I want is that Invisible Speed will contain all the different classes and professionals from each class teaching and sharing knowledge. That's the idea with it. And we are well on our way now. And not only in English, as you can see, so different languages too.
Awesome. Also, shout out to TNR Fuel. Shout out to I saw them. They had a big RC Expo the weekend that we was at RCGP. That's something I'd like to go to once in life. Big RC Expo there in California. I saw that Chris Nelson was there, had everything set up. High Tech was there. Shout out to thank you to High Tech RC. Beach RC, it was great to see Brent and Lucas and those guys. Techno RC, hey, dude, co-casting races Techno and won RC2. That's so awesome. Man, I really wish.
What? Is that the same guy who went to the Worlds?
Yes. Him and his dad were there, and they did pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I was stoked for that. Come on, Techno. Come on. We want Jared Tebow and Seth Dillon and all those guys in RCGP. Let's do it. But shout out to Techno RC. Cole Castle was flying. Huh?
Oh, Daniel's stubborn.
Well, you're stubborn, so that's. I like Daniel.
Depends on what things you're stubborn on.
Well, he's a nice dude. I like Daniel and Matt. They're good dudes. And Joey Bardon was really fast. And David Olson, all three Techno kids, young men, were really good, man. Really impressive. And my buddy, you know who else was good? My buddy Logan Kowick. His dad. I got to know these guys a lot, and they had the best pit call ever. They didn't use radios or anything. He just went like "kaka, kaka," and something like that. And his son knew that he had to come in, dude. It was so cool. I thought it was awesome. And he came fifth. That was good, man. I was happy for him. He's a nice young man, very nice young man. He plays guitar too, better than you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Actually, he won the Alexander Hagberg body. So from the Christmas show. So anyway, we gotta finish these announcements. Shout out to TZO Tires. It was good to have Nick. Dude, Nick's never been on the East Coast. He was so shocked. He was like, he must have felt like he went from being just struggling, like in California paying normal prices, and when he came to the East Coast and he saw all the prices there, he was just like, what? I'm like, it's so cheap. Like, he was so shocked how cheap it was compared to California. But he had a blast. Yeah. I wonder if he's home yet. He has a big long trip ahead of him. And Lugs Racing Tires, shout out to those guys. Mayako, JQSM, Clinic RC, RaceCraft USA, G-Spec, RC Tuning, shout out to my boy Geoff. Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, pure traction with Papa Willie's. David Runnerfolk Shop, the DR Shop, Alexander Hartberg, Clinic RC, JTP RC, and shout out to my boy RC Kevin. So I'm sorry, people, for my voice, but I did talk a lot, and I was in the elements for a lot here this past weekend, but I would do it all over again tomorrow if I could. So, yeah, we're here to talk about some stuff that we've been floating around on the internet first, and then I think we're going to wait till we get Max here so we can do a full RCGP analysis. What do you think, Joseph?
This is drama-only podcast. Okay?
Ooh.
So address your Facebook ranting.
Oh, yeah, because I'm getting...
RCGP, pay-per-view, all that shit. Let's do that now. Okay, can we start?
Yeah, I'm just clearing my throat. So, Joseph, I know you think I'm like this emotional mess. I'm not really emotional.
Yes,
I'm not. I'm cool. Well, I'm emotional because I'm stranded in Jacksonville coming back.
No excuses. I know. Okay, let's just nip this in the bud before you get going. Okay, I saw your post because someone sent a screenshot, and I'm like, fuck, I have to use my burner account and go check what's going on, right? Like, I don't have the Facebook app. I don't have any of that, but obviously I have an account because I have pages to run. So, okay, I go on there, and I have to tell you, I don't agree with you. And the thing is that...
I know you don't. You never agree with me.
No, but serious. Like,
and you know what? You're part of the reason why that happened,
people, right?
Yes, we do.
No, listen. We talk a lot of shit on a lot of people, and we have a reason to do it, right? We criticize for a reason. And now, Dave Leikum from Racetime Entertainment made fun of RCGP, but he also had a legitimate reason, because RCGP failed on many points, which we'll get back to.
I agree.
So the fact that you made that post makes you look like a giant pussy.
I know, it does.
Well, I shouldn't say pussy. There's
you shouldn't say that word on the
women's courage.
You know what? I'm gonna have to.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna have to edit that.
No, you won't. You can leave that in.
All right.
We all have our failures. But my point is that you should have never made... No, listen. You should have never made that post because it's obvious that he would do that. I would have done the same if the roles were reversed.
I would never do that to somebody.
Yes. I mean...
I wouldn't make a post like that.
Let's say that someone says that... oh, Mayako, let's say that another person affiliated with another brand says that, oh, Mayako, whatever, arms suck and they just break all the time. Okay. And then they break an arm. I am going to use that against them. How about your arms?
Yeah. I look, I'm not.
So,
I'm not.
Do you understand?
That. So I'll get that.
I'm not exact thing that happened. That's the exact thing that happened. But RCGP was all about being better and great trophies and great image and all of this. This the premium racing class. Then there was a shitty podium with shitty trophies. What did you expect?
The criticism isn't the issue.
To that. You made a fucking big stink about it online.
What?
You made a massive stink about it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And you were like messaging me and you were all emotional. I'm like, fuck, actually, you know what? I agree with Dave. And then you were arguing with me about that.
So because you never take my side.
Here's my proposal.
You never take my side. You always leave me out stranded.
Yeah, when you are wrong. If you say something that I
one thing about you're the type of friend. I don't feel I was wrong.
Oh my god.
I don't feel I was wrong because I'm trying to show you there's got to be a separation. There's got to be a separation because, like, I'll explain how I felt because I wasn't gonna say nothing. I just looked at it and I was like, all right, this ain't a big deal. I don't really give a fuck about the criticism because you and I criticize and say, look at this. Like, you know, and I saw those things, I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? When I saw the trophies, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was so angry. Like, everybody was angry. Like, all the RCGP guys were angry. And I was just like, man, that's going to suck. And I ain't mad at that. I know that sucks. I just feel that Dave's actions were nefarious because, like, as a race promoter, going to he's mad at me. He's obviously shooting at us, at you, me, Max, which is fine. I can deal with that. But it's like me getting mad. Like, I don't know, like getting mad. All right, so let's look at their live. Like, that's like me being mad at Bobby and Dave and then attacking Mark Santamaria when he has nothing really to do with it because he's just there talking. I don't feel like, you know what I mean? That's kind of like what RCGP is to decide. I get what you're saying, but just let me finish. Can I finish?
Okay, finish and let me know when you're done. So I can.
So that's just my point. Like, I just felt like, man, if you're going to come after me and you and all that type of stuff, that's great. But I don't mind that. But it's like, I would have done it. Like, I just don't like that. I didn't like that. That would be like me going, okay, next week at PNB, which I will be watching because I like it. And saying, oh, look, and I really hope that it's like great coverage with 2 cameras and, you know, all those cameras, which I'm really hoping that it's going to be, right? Because I want to watch this race. And that would be like me saying, oh, or like one of Dave's races that he's had previously, and he's only got the 1 camera and all that type of stuff. In the middle of his race saying, taking a picture and a screenshot, tagging him and all that stuff in it, and then making fun of his race saying, oh, well, look, RCGP has better coverage. I would never do that. Like, we talk about this stuff.
I'm sure we've done similar stuff.
No, you may have. I have. Another thing. This is a lot from you because shit, dude, Bobby called me last week, right? Before I even got to America, I had to deal with this stuff. So I'm here, like, chilling out one day, like, getting ready to come to America, and Bobby calls me. And I'm like, what happened? You know, I'm like, what did you do now? Or what did I do? That's what I said. I said, I haven't said anything wrong. And then I can recall. And then I said,
he was mad about the track, right?
Yeah, I was like, I remember that. JQ said that.
Wait, just stop right now.
Okay.
Let's structure this a bit, because I had the idea. Let's not go through every single thing that was said.
I'm not trying to do that.
Said drama. Forget about that, okay? It's not important.
Okay.
We can use this opportunity to talk about the bigger picture, okay?
All right, let's do that.
Just pick one thing you want to respond to from the On the Tone podcast with Dave Leikum and
Loop is live. On the Tone Loop is live.
On the Tone Loop is live, yeah. They had a podcast. They were talking about all this stuff. Pick one subject or theme you want to respond to. I'll pick one, and we talk about that, and then we move on, because I want to talk about the different ways to criticize and criticism in general and like the intentions of people. We can discuss that as a separate subject. Okay. But
no worries.
There's no point in going into every single thing that someone says. No. Let's not argue about that.
They have valid complaints. I'm not disputing that.
Pick one thing you want to address.
I want to address the whole RCG. I'm RCGP, RCG propaganda. I don't, all this type of stuff that they claim that I do, that I don't, I think that all races have to be a certain way and all that, and that I only talk good about RCGP and I only put on Dave's races and all this type, and I only criticize Dave racing and all that stuff, because that's just totally untrue. Like, totally untrue, because, like, I feel like, I promote a lot of races. Like, I promote every race because I geek out. Like, you know what I mean? I want to watch these races and all that stuff. Yes, obviously, I like RCGP because I'm a little bit more involved in that. You know what I mean? But I want Dave to understand, it's pretty simple. I'm going to show you how this works right now. I'll physically show you how this works. So right now, I'm wearing a No Name RC podcast hat, right? This is my podcast. I'm representing my podcast. This is what I do, correct? All right, so I'm going to take this off, and I'm now putting on my RCGP hat that I got, thank you, David, at RCGP. Look, this is my hat. This is me. This is me. I went to RCGP to call races and be a part of that. That's it. I am not RCGP. So I take this off, and we're back to the NNRC. So your issue is with me and the NNRC, not this. I don't think it's right for other race promoters to take a dig at another race promotion. Dave wouldn't do it to Bobby, and Dave wouldn't do that to Joey, and Joey won't do that to him. That's it. And that's my issue with that. Otherwise than that, I'm cool with the criticism and all that stuff. But anyway, I am not like
guilty by association.
Yeah, so that's it. Look, I've been the biggest mouthpiece for RCGP. We have, this is our platform. We promote it. But I didn't like I didn't like them painting me with one brush, saying that
they say it differently. When you say that you are the mouthpiece of RCGP, you are, because you promote RCGP, you believe in it. But that doesn't mean that you only promote RCGP,
exactly,
or you only promote it over other races. You promote all different kinds of races.
Exactly.
You do live Discord fucking chats and video viewings of all the races. Promote all the races.
Yep. And that's kind of why I was like, man, these guys are making me look like I don't really like, if you're upset with my criticisms, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, I have not obviously you've kind of criticized Dave a lot. The only thing I went on Dave about was we wanted him to get better trophies, and he got them, right? He got that. And then I applaud, here's the thing that gets me with this is that I have said way more positive things and promoted Dave's races, Joey's races, all these people's races more than I said negative. Now, when we've criticized Joey's races, we've criticized Dave races, we've criticized Roar, you know what I mean? And we're going to criticize our own race today. Not because Dave said so on the live, but because we already planned to. So my point is that you have to take that away. I am now media, you know what I mean? I am not RCGP. Whether Dave wants to admit it or not, or people don't want to accept it, the podcast is now media. We talk about everything in RC on a weekly basis. We criticize, we praise, we criticize with solutions, we praise, and we talk about everything that people talk about. What I've said about Dave's races, I've not heard from anybody else. What I've said about Joey's races, I've not heard something from somebody else. I want to get this straight off the bat. I think what Joey does is great. I like his races. I like Dave's races. I like all these guys' races. They'll say I'm bullshitting now, but if I didn't like his races, I wouldn't be like, hey, I want to see coverage. I want to see better racing. I want to see the better coverage so I can follow it. Unfortunately, I can't be there all the time. So that's my point. So my issue is it's not I think it's like this. I'm not personally attacking Dave or any of these guys. I say, hey, Dave, man, you need to have better coverage, which he does. You know what I mean? You got these great races, but you don't have the up-to-date coverage. I get it. It costs money and all that type of stuff. But we've also offered solutions for him to get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let's put it this way. PMB, we had like how many drivers one year? 35?
Dude, I went to PMB,
Probably.
set up the best pits that ever's been set up in PMB history, took up a whole row. Now, I want to talk about that real quick.
My point is that...
So, can I finish now? I have one more thing
We had
I
a
want to
lot
say.
of drivers there because we got them there.
Yes.
We promoted the race. We got them there. We also promoted the race on the podcast to other people, right?
Yes.
It's not that we are not supporting others. We are criticizing others, yes, but we are doing so for a reason. I'll get into that when we talk more about the theme. But did you have something else to address?
Yeah, I just wanted to...
this fact, like the separation where you are not RCGP.
Right.
What annoyed me also is people are saying that they got offended and they did this. They are talking about you. You personally were offended and you made a post. You weren't speaking for me. I wasn't offended. I fucking agreed with
I
Dave.
agree with him. I agree with him.
Like, I would have... I felt like making the same post as
Yeah,
Dave.
but I wouldn't do
You
that. I just
understand?
thought...
But
I thought as
obviously
a
I
race
can't.
promoter...
But do you understand? Like, I
Yes,
felt
I get
like
it.
doing that. When
Dude,
I
what did
saw
we
the
say?
fucking podium ceremony on Saturday, I was cringing so bad. I was embarrassed. I sent you a message on WhatsApp and said, I cannot fucking believe this. I am so embarrassed. We are going to have to roast our own race. If people don't believe
you did
it,
say
we can
that.
share the screenshots. On Saturday, I sent you this.
Yeah.
I could
because
not even watch. It was so bad. I was so angry. I was still angry when I arrived home. You know, because
So
it's
I just
such a stupid, avoidable mistake.
I agree.
Like,
I
what
agree.
the fuck are you thinking, right?
I agree,
That's
100%.
what's going through my mind, okay? So Dave's post and that, it's just water off my back. I didn't care because he has a legit reason to do so, okay?
Yeah,
So-
I'm not the criticism. I'm like, he can criticize. His podium's a
Yeah.
badass. That podium was shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So my point is that you got offended, you responded. It is not RCGP. It is not me. It is you.
Right.
You are an individual. You are separate to them. I guess that's the point you are.
So I wanted to say, I
wanting
wanted to add something to that
bring
because I wanted to say something. Because I was watching Lupus Live and on the turn last night, and it brought back some memories of the great shit fountain wars of 2017 to 2018 that we had. Now, if a lot of people don't and I saw, and Bobby was like, well, the end. I was like, this podcast started the end of 2018 when all those guys, like, on the turn was on. I was never involved with that whole shit
Yeah,
fountain.
it was my Facebook Lives.
Right.
I was
So it was
doing
just, it
Facebook
was
Lives
nothing to
back
do with me. Like, I was never on that, right? I started this podcast in October 2018. So it's been 3 years now, almost 4. Like, I never was involved in that tit for tat with Bobby and you, and even they went tit to tat.
No, it was me.
Right. It was on the turn. It was on the turn and Lupus Live. Here's my thing. Everybody forgets about that. Lupus Live, Bobby Moore, Jeff Keaton, Mark Santamaria, and those guys. Like, not much on the turn. Like, they kind of, like when you did something stupid, they roasted you. I could get away with that because you was doing stupid shit. But it's like Bobby Moore and Jeff Keaton for 2 years straight just had, like, it would be like, oh, we're going to do a podcast. And it would be a Bash JQ Racing podcast. It'd be, they put bounties on people's cars, all that type of stuff. I never once, ever went to Bobby or Jeff and said, hey, man, you guys should stop doing that. I never complained. I never said nothing to him. I didn't cry about it. Like, Bobby called me up. He was upset when you said something about his track, and he was telling me how Dave was all pissed off at you because what you said, which was wrong, which I agree because you said that shit and all that type of stuff. Right? I never once said that. I also understood, and let me tell you something. Bobby built all of Race Time's tracks. You know what I mean? Dave was on the podcast. He was a sponsor of that podcast. I never once said, oh, I'm not going to Dave's race because of Bobby and Jeff. In fact, Dave reached out to me shortly after DNC, the DNC when we had the nice pits and all that stuff. And he said, hey, Keenan, you know what Bobby and Jeff saying on the podcast about putting bounties on your cars and all that stuff. Even though it was a joke, a lot of people took that serious. He goes, I want you to know that if you come to my race, you'll be all right. I want you guys to come to my race and all that stuff. And I was like, cool. That same year, we went to the race. We set up the pits. I remember Dave coming to me. Look, I think Dave, I got emotional. I got offended at what he posted, but I think Dave has a personal issue with me. Obviously, I can see that from his podcast, from what he was saying last night. And that's fine, but he has a personal issue with me for the wrong reasons, because I actually have supported and promoted his stuff. So what I'm trying to say is, I can differentiate between what Bobby Moore and Jeff Keaton and Lupus Live was talking shit about. I mean, let's be honest, Joseph. Those guys talk so much shit. And like every podcast they did, it was like they just bashed on you to get, and you played into it. You played into it a lot. But so that's fine. But let me just finish. Yeah. They talk about thick skin and all. I thick skin all that stuff. I sat there and smiled while they did that. I never blamed Dave. I never even assumed, I never even associated Dave with those guys. And that's all they talked about was race time events. You get what I'm saying? So he has to make the same type of disassociation with me. Right. And that was my reason for that post. Realistically, you may say I was getting emotional, which I did. I was a little bit emotional, but that's my reason. He can't differ. And I heard him talking and I'm like, wow, these guys must think I earned. Like, dude, I heard my name so much on that podcast line, I thought I was in bed with my wife. You know what I mean? Like, Keenan. Okay, I was like, wow. Anyway, so that's my point. Like, my issue is I don't have anything personal against the guy. He's done great things. He's like, hey, we criticized his trophies. He got badass trophies. I said, and you know what? It was so funny. I have the screen. That's actually the last message Dave sent me. I'll put it up. I wish I could put it up on camera. The last message Dave ever sent me was, I'll bring it up right here. Because it's when he made those badass PMB trophies, and I shared it because I thought they were fucking badass. Those trophies. The last time he messaged me, he sent me a message, and he sends a picture of the podium, and he puts in big capital letters, "I win," with big exclamation marks. And I said, "No, hey man," I said, "Trophies are badass." And we've never talked ever since.
We're getting into the nitty gritty. I didn't want to do that. That's a good
but I'm just saying, that's what I just wanted to get people. That's my biggest take from that.
You are not the same as RCGP. You're not the same as all of us. You are your own individual. You're media. You cover everything. Okay?
I criticize everybody.
You criticize everyone and you give everyone props. Okay? Yeah. Just like he is affiliated with on the Tone Loop is live, whatever, but we separate the two. Race time isn't Bobby. Bobby says shit with Jeff Keaton. We don't put that on race time, right?
Right, and that was my issue with Dave. He went after RCGP, and I felt like, because I've heard that Dave, look, I get it too.
Let's not get into the fucking details. Okay?
So I just wanted to finish off. Something. When I went to DNC this year, even Joey said something to me about when I came there. So it's like,
Joey basically told you that he didn't feel that you are welcome. He told me that he doesn't feel that I'm welcome. We hashed it out. We were all good after that, I believe.
Yeah, I hashed it out with him.
But it's like, don't feel special, Dave. We bash everyone. JBRL, Jimmy, Joey, The Dirt, Race Time Entertainment. But it's not, we're going to get into that. And what you were talking about, the shit fountains and all of that, bashing JQ for the sake of bashing. The thing is, there are different types of criticism. And that's my point, really, with this. I want to talk about the bigger theme of the reason for criticizing something and how you do it. But before we go there, I needed to pick my subject, which is the track with Bobby Moore. But at first, I have to pee, seriously. I'm going to pee my pants right now.
Let's pause
this.
I have
to go pee.
Did you drain the lizard, dude?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So... Yeah. Let's not spend much time of this. I want to talk about the bigger picture, but my point would be the track. So,
which, by the way, I think the track was good. I actually think the track. I like the track.
Yeah, the track was good. There were a lot of good things about it, I thought. There were a couple of things that they said. So Bobby said that wanted to make the track technical so it would suit Ronnie Park. Somehow he would have an unfair advantage. I don't know even what that means. It had nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with Ronnie
He said
Park.
you said that.
I spoke to him. I never said that.
He said Greg said you said that.
well, Greg is lying. Greg just likes to stir the pot. I never spoke with Ronnie Falk about the track. I wasn't even thinking about that.
I mean,
So-
it didn't work. One horse won like 2 rounds of it.
Yeah, so the thing is that I wanted to do something different with the track. Back in the day, Joey changed how our tracks are built, and now it's translated over to Europe and globally. You know, we have the jumps we have and the kind of layouts. It's a very Joey type of building a track, and that's great. He has had a big influence on RC. I would say it's a positive one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But something I have noticed is that with the level of drivers improving and how the tracks are, it's basically everyone is driving after each other. You can't really race close. It's very hard to do, at least. Someone makes a mistake, someone gets by. That's typical. And one of the reasons is that the speeds we are going on the tracks is too high. So the cars are good, the tires are good, the tracks are built in a way where we can carry a lot of speed everywhere. And when cars are jumping full throttle, massive doubles, going into fast corners, it's very, very hard to drive side by side, for example. It's almost impossible for most people. The very best drivers can manage it, but it's very hard.
Yeah.
So what my message to Bobby was, let's slow it down. That was my main message. Make sections so that going into the jump, you cannot carry speed because it's out of a corner. So we do the corner, and then maybe we have an option. Maybe we go very tight and we single, and then we jump the next jump, but we are limited by how much we can accelerate. So we can't jump very far. Or we go a bit wider so we can jump into the section. But make it so that they aren't massive, fast sections. Slow it down. Make the jump steep. You jump more up. You have to time the landing very well to maintain your speed. You jump onto tabletop, skip off, you know. Do you remember 2008 Charlotte Worlds in the front? There was that section that Truggies was doing in qualifying.
Yes.
It was kind of slow. So he would come in, he would jump up, skip down, skip over a single. It was a very slow section. We never see these anymore. But that's what I was talking about. Like, let's make technical sections that are slow. You enter from a corner, you know, whoop section, you double, 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 or you single, double, double, you know, these kind of things. That was my message. And also you can have different rhythms. Because you are going slower, you take a different rhythm. Now you are side by side, 2 cars. You enter the next section, the speeds are low. You can control your car next to another car and you can race. Nice, Lefty.
Sorry.
So you are going through a section of the track side by side, racing to the next corner. If you're on the inside, you made the pass. If you're on the outside, maybe you have to back out and wait. So that was my message. Let's slow it down. Let's try to find a new style of building a track. Now, the track we had at RCGP, it was a great track, I thought, but it was your normal RC track pretty much. On the left, we had a different rhythm. You could go outside and double and jump up on the tabletop in the corner, or you could go single, double, and then double onto the lower table and drive up. So you had a different rhythm on the left. I like that. In the front, you had a double into like a dragon's back, doubling into a double, skipping over into a corner. So it had sections which were very cool, in my opinion, because you had to time it. You had to use your head. You couldn't just go, oh, Joey double, full throttle, you know. So that was good. I like that. It's just that it didn't go far enough in that direction. I wanted to have something where everyone would look at it and go, wow, this is so crazy. It's completely new. Like, that's what I wanted. And we got 20% of that, you know? So that was my only sort of track criticism or idea. Of course, yeah, on the podcast I said I can't remember what I said. Like,
you said that he didn't do anything that you wanted to do.
He did nothing that I wanted. You know, it's all fucking podcast drama, you know? That's my main point. He knows it. He was really upset with you. He was really upset with you. Really upset my ass. We were fine at the race.
He was upset.
That's all I have to say.
One thing,
about
Bobby I get Bobby. He takes a lot of pride in his track. I really liked it. I think the mogul section of that track was probably one of the hardest sections I've seen.
I really enjoyed it.
It was so difficult for people.
Yeah, a lot of people complained about it because of how it was after the start. But I'm like, just fucking go slower. Like, if I was at the front, I went for it, you know? If I was in the middle of the pack or behind, I would sort of take it easy and pick a different line and go around people. And actually, we spoke about it with Bornhorst. He's raced motocross. He understands gate starts, right? If you got the start, you go for it. If you're in the pack or behind, you hang back a bit. You try and find an opening. But what RC racers do is they just fucking go for it no matter what. And that's why people crash. So the gate start, it doesn't matter what you put after the gate start. What matters is your attitude and how you approach that. Why did Bornhorst generally get good starts? Why did I generally get good starts? Because we were paying attention. We looked at where we were, where the other cars were, and we would go a lot slower than required in certain situations, or we would go for it in others, right? You have to play it by ear. Like, look, not just, I'm going as fast as I can always. Like, that's not how you do gate starts. So I think the more gate starts we have, the better the drivers will be at adapting to them.
Yeah,
I agree. Mogul section.
And you know what?
Good.
I have to say something. It's probably a good thing that he didn't make it any more technical because of the wind. And that wreaked havoc on a lot of guys.
Because I don't think that slowing stuff down, the wind won't matter more.
Yeah, but you wanted to go high. And if you'd have been high, that would have taken cars.
No, it's not like that. It's like...
Of course,
you were right. The car jumps the same height, less distance, you know? You understand? Like, the height we had over the Dragon's back double is the same. It's just that it's much shorter.
I did like that. I like the jump. I love that jump. I like the track.
Anyway, enough about the track. You get the point now.
Yeah.
Let's go next thing. It's fucking 45 minutes already. We were supposed to do this in an hour. So, criticism. There's different kinds. That's what I wanted to talk about. I would say, you said that Dave was just taking a shot at us and blah, blah, blah. You were mad about that. I think he had every reason to do that. It was payback, right? Payback is different. Someone keeps complaining about you and then they fail at what they were complaining about. That's fucking open game. Go for it, okay? I have no issue with that. What the shit fountains were doing, Keaton and Bobby Moore, back in the day, what they were doing is they were simply making fun of me and anything I did for the sake of making fun of me. Mm-hmm. Back we had the 100. You remember? The 100 became the Mayako
that was the first one
program.
I remember that. Yeah.
The 100 was a thing where people signed up, $35 a month, and then the idea was that they get prototypes and different kind of members-only parts, basically. But it wasn't great. They did eventually get all the parts, all that stuff, but there were long delays, and it was very difficult to manage. That has morphed into the Mayako project now, basically. And now it's working really well, where you have the Discord and people feel involved and all that stuff, right? But they were making fun of that as some kind of club. Anything I did, basically, they would make fun of. Their reason for
I just want people to know. I just want people to know. We're not hashing out old things. Like, we're friends with Bobby and all that type of stuff.
Listen.
No, I just want people to think like we're not out here digging up the past. You know what I mean?
Don't interrupt me. I'll lose my fucking train of thought. So their motivation to make fun of me was to put me down. It wasn't, at that time, it wasn't friendly banter. It was literally, hey, we can make fun of JQ and laugh at him. You know? That's one way. Stop being on the fucking phone and pay attention.
It hates when you're doing something else, in it. You hate it. Yeah, you know how I feel now.
Put your fucking phone away and listen. With Joe Bornhorst, it started off friendly banter, but he got offended. He got offended around the whole average Joe thing. So, for example, before that, like, whenever he would walk by my pits and I wasn't there, he'd like mess up my tools and put them all over my car and tires and like mess up my pit. And then I was like, fucking Bornhorst has been here, right? And I would play similar kind of pranks on him. But then he got personally offended with the whole average Joe thing. And that pissed him off. And then the banter became hateful things said hateful, spiteful things said with actual malice, like actual hate involved, where banter is you say hateful things, but you don't mean it, right? So I tell you that you're a fat idiot, and you tell me, well, you're a Finnish autistic cunt, right? Like, we don't actually mean those things, right? But we say them.
Right, I agree.
That's banter. So there are different kinds. You can say certain things in a spiteful way, or you can say those same things in a sort of friendly banter way. With Bornhorst, it started that way. It became unfriendly. And I believe now we are back to being friendly, right? He says it was great to meet everyone except JQ, you know, making a joke. I say he's still above average Joe, because he had a good performance on Saturday. After Nationals, I thought he was back to being average Joe, you know? So our banter is now back to that friendly level. So they are clearly, you can say things in different ways. Like, okay, here's one. You're going to edit this out, I know.
No, if I'm going to have to edit it, you change it. Just try and rearrange
no,
it.
Can I say it? I want to say it.
No.
I want to say it.
No.
Can I say it?
No, I don't even know what you're going to say, but I know it's going to be bad.
It would be such a good thing, but you'll edit it out anyway. I won't say it.
Yeah, you could tell me after. We'll save it for the Patreon only podcast.
Yeah, Patreon. Let's do a Patreon only. I'll say what I was going to say.
Yeah, we're going to do a Patreon only podcast after this. Yeah, that's good.
It would have been a funny one. My point is that there's criticism like that and hate like that where the purpose is to put someone down. Now, I challenge you to find the examples of me criticizing races or race organizers or other races where that's my intention. Because I don't think you can find it. Maybe you can find one, but I don't think you can find two or even three. Like, there's no way, because I always have a point with my criticism. So I criticize because I want something to be better. So I criticize the race format or having no entry limit or having lines for practice. I'm criticizing these things because I want to make the events better. And you can see, a lot of people say, in response to criticism, they say like, hey, well, you're just saying these things, like you should do something about it then. Why don't you do it better? Well, now we have a track record. Fucking years ago, when we started talking about these things, we hadn't done anything, right? So it was okay. Like, people say that, well, what can you say? But now we have done a lot. So when I say these same things, like we should make the racing formats better, we should make it more enjoyable, like accessible for people, all of these things that I keep on harping on about, we have actually done things about it. I've made a full Excel sheet with race formats, schedules. You can change the heat lengths, change the brake lengths, how long it takes to water. You can change everything. You can figure out exactly how many entries you can have in a club race, how many entries you can have in a big race, how many different classes. You can do all of that. I sent it to all the race organizers. I've explained it to all of them. I've spoken with Live RC and Everlaps. They have edited their programs, included new race formats that people can use, qualifying races, more heads-up racing, different ways of calculating qualifying results, all of that shit. I've worked with them to get that done behind the scenes so that I can go to a race organizer and say, hey, Live RC already has these ready for you, right? We got AMS to have a capped entry, different racing format. They had a qualifying race to end qualifying, even though they called it Superpole, which I think was stupid because Superpole already exists in RC as something different. So they had a heads-up race to end qualifying.
You see?
They did all these things.
You just called it stupid, and that's where they're going to get offended. So just try not to say words like that.
It is. I told him stupid to his face back when we were talking about it. So my point is that these things that I criticize, we're also doing, okay? Not only that, No Name RC podcast started the podcast. Sorry, Keenan. I know this is your thing, but before you, there was someone else. I started it with someone else. He did 4 episodes, didn't work, right? Then figured you were a fucking perfect person for it. You took that over. Now you're basically full-time podcast. But this podcast gives a platform for smaller companies like RaceCraft or Clinic that I can see right there, right? Many people never heard of them. Now they have through the podcast, right? Mm-hmm. So this helps. We also talk about all different races. Even Techno is a fucking sponsor on this thing, right? Mm-hmm. So it's open for everyone. Another thing, my YouTube channel, I make videos not just about my car, not just about me. I had Bruno Coelho on talking about 10 scale on carpet, talked about pillow balls. I do all kinds of different videos, right? Generally helpful for everyone. I wrote the book, Invisible Speed, also helpful for everyone, translated into French, German, Spanish, Italian. You know, it's not just about me. How can I benefit with this, right? It's thinking like, what can I do that's going to help the industry as a whole? Invisible Speed online course, okay? It's videos, now also going to be in Spanish. You know, also going to be on-road, so not even just off-road. RCGP, I was involved in starting that. Open for all different brands. Join us. All media companies, join us. We want to do stuff to improve and move forward. So when I criticize, whether it be Race Time or Joey from the Dirt or JBRL or Adam Drake, whoever it is that I'm criticizing, if it's not the Joe Bornhorst banter, like you're an average Joe, and then he comes back, well, you're an average designer. We have teammates, basically. That's friendly banter. That's fine. When I criticize these other people, it's not friendly banter as such. It is like a stand-up comedian making fun of societal issues that people need to talk about and fix, right? It's like a stand-up comedian making fun of something wrong, like George Carlin.
I get it.
For example, you know, they have a whole stand-up routine and people are laughing, but at the end, it's like the subjects that were brought up are something that people should think about and maybe change and improve. That is what I have been doing for all these years. So I make fun of these people. I make memes. I make posts. I make dumb comments. They hate me personally on a personal level. I don't have anything against them. All I want is for them to stop and think and change their ways and improve. And now we have a track record of that happening. EFRA, the federation, officially acknowledged RCGP. EFRA,
that's a big deal.
For as long as I have been in RC, EFRA has called non-EFRA races black races. They have wanted to snuff them out rather than collaborate. And now they are openly endorsing another non-EFRA event, right? There's more pressure than ever inside EFRA to change for the better now, largely thanks to our outside pressure on them. So, like I already said about AMS with the different formats and that, the lap timing software is making updates. We are also helping to make positive change.
Yeah,
after my long rant, my conclusion basically is that there's different types of criticism. What Dave did is fine because it was payback. What the shit fountains do, I don't agree with, because that sole intention is to put someone down, make fun of someone, embarrass someone. There is no deeper thought. There's nothing constructive about it. It's just, haha, look at that guy. And that's lowbrow humor, whatever. Like, I'm not interested in that. When I do this shit, I have a reason. And my reason is I want to point at something that could be better. And now we have a track record to prove that I don't just want other people to do better. I do the same for myself and other organizations that I work with. So that's my point.
Yeah, and sense? I wanted to stress something too. If it wasn't for us saying, "Hey, Dave, let's get some trophies," he wouldn't have changed it. It's good. I love it. Then we was on him about getting format change. No, I just want to finish because I wanted to bring something up because I don't like being called a liar. He called me a liar. So, and that's the only thing I didn't like last night was him calling me a liar.
Yeah.
About, look, when what aggravates me is when AMS came about and all that type of stuff, we applauded everybody. Everybody was complaining, all that type of stuff. We encouraged people to go. We did all that coverage, right? Because we thought it was good. I was like, wow, Dave made a change. Like, maybe some other race promoters might do it. I applaud that. Like, I think that's badass. Like, I love that. But I just don't like, I think he never sees that. And then when he was talking about the can we talk about because I wanted to talk about, because you told me this. I was only saying what you told me was about you had talked to him about possibly getting RC Racing TV over there and stuff like that. Because we're going to talk about the pay-per-view, because he didn't like that. I'm cool, So I just kind of, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? I just didn't like that side of the thing, because that's the only thing that I didn't like was being called a liar, because I'm not a liar. You know what I mean? And you have said that, and you said that you talked to Dave, and he even said it later on, and I'm like, oh, you said it. Like, you know what I mean? The point of the pay-per-view, and you're trying to get cheaper coverage for these races because you and I both feel that these races need coverage. Like, I want
Yeah, we'll
Dave's
get into
race.
the pay-per-view.
Okay.
Yeah, I messaged him during it because I had jet lag, so I watched it live. And when he basically said that you were lying about that, I sent him screenshots of our discussion from before, where I asked him how much the coverage costs, and he told me, and I said, maybe we have a way of getting you the premium coverage with moving cameras and all that shit, interviews, pit walkabouts, like make it really good coverage, but for a lower price for him.
Right.
Basically.
So that wasn't a lie. I just want that to be clear. That was not a lie.
No, same as what he's paying now. How about we do it a different way where he gets better coverage for the same money? And then I introduced the whole pay-per-view idea, that this is the idea. Pay-per-view will pay for the coverage for RCGP, but also other events. And AMS could be one, because now AMS is capped. You have a schedule. The media can work to a schedule. It's going to be much better to coordinate and make great coverage, So he definitely knew about it.
Right.
It was on his radar. No, we never decided anything. I was just putting out, what's the word? Like, I was just finding out the information needed to see that, is this a possibility? But he just blatantly went out there and said that it was a lie. So.
Right. And then he said something on, I don't like live RC. I actually like last week at the national, I just want to say, because I just want to clear this up. When they did the national coverage and it was just Hooks and the other dude, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I get it. They didn't get to go out and do all that stuff because they're undermanned. You know what I said to Hooks? I said, man, thank you. The coverage was badass. The cameras were good. You did a good job. That's all I want is that. But I just don't. And then they went on then I just want to say something real quick, because I have to defend these guys too. They went on a tirade about RC Racing TV and their quality and all that type of stuff. Let me tell you something. RC Racing TV.
Not even get into that. They are both good. Okay.
They're both good. Live RC and RC Racing TV are both great. I would love to see them both work together.
Yeah, originally the idea was that we would use both Live RC and RC Racing TV for RCGP. And that's actually why Live RC have the same overlay as we use in RCGP, right? It's very similar how the drivers pop up and everything. That's because I was literally talking to both and figuring out how we can work together. It ended up being that we only did RCGP with RC Racing TV, right? Mm-hmm. But just, I can't even remember why anymore. Logistically, whatever. It just worked out that way. But the idea was originally to work with both. And I have no issue with Live RC.
Neither do I. I love I pay my $5 every month to Live RC.
Yeah, I would think that if, because RC is so small, if there was a way that media could work more together, I think it would benefit all of us.
Yeah, so I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind working alongside Live RC, doing what I do. Like while they're up there, I could be out there interviewing people, stuff like. I don't mind doing that. Yeah. You know what I mean? If that was to come about.
So, was there something else? I had some thought I wanted to say, but I can't remember.
No idea. I can't read your mind.
You were saying about the AMS thing.
Yeah, I just think that for me, I get it. Like, I just want to address this real quick. I get it. Dave doesn't like to be criticized. Nobody does. You know what I mean? But I've said way more positive things and props and boost, talked about his races in a positive way and gave him more mad props for what he's done. You know what I mean? When he hiked up last year, when he put the price of PMB up to 110, man, so many people were complaining. And, I just heard all this stuff and I'm like, hey man, things cost money. And if he's going to have live, like the people said, oh, he's charging to pay for Live RC. I said, yeah, if $10 extra is what's going to cost to have great coverage, then bam, let's have it. You know what I mean? I don't mind because we want to watch this stuff. And when he made the change to the format for AMS, we literally applauded it. Like people, remember how much, look, they had to take so much flack, like, you know what I mean, about that. And I said, but you guys don't get it. Like you can race one class or two classes and get so much more runtime and all that. And we defended it. And we defended it and we promoted it and we
but we're
encouraged
getting in
people
the
to go.
weeds again. We've been over this.
I just want that to be known because I don't want to be like everybody like thinks that I'm just this negative, like I just say negative things. Oh, I say.
Well, you're about to be able to say more negative things because let's talk about RCGP.
Yes,
actually,
let's talk about that because hold on, I want to make sure that Dave said, "Oh, they're probably going to talk about the RCGP because I said something." No, we actually said this Saturday.
Yeah, but it's always like that. So, for example, we don't know what impact we actually have had on Efra or Dave, or maybe he was going to make trophies anyway, but us pressuring him, it was just like the timing was such as it looks like we don't know, right?
Right,
it's
we don't
the same thing with this. Like they think that they made us talk about RCGP, but actually we already were going to do it anyway.
I don't. Like
Joey, for example, now Joey actually has the track finished when you show up. He has a air compressor. He has tire washing station. He rents a fucking trailer with a pump, so he has good tire water pressure to water the track. Like it's improvements, right? Maybe he was going to do those anyway. Maybe it's because of all the criticism. Who knows, right? But when there's like 50 different things out there in the world, and you have said all those 50 different things, I'm pretty sure that some of them are thanks to us. Okay.
Right.
So, yeah.
I would hope so anyway. I hope we have a positive effect on RC.
You can't say for sure always. Same thing with this. So anyway, we have to talk about this. It's going to be rough. I made a list. Oh, okay. So
I think you're actually a little bit too anal, but anyway.
No, okay. So that people wondering what the affiliation is. Originally, back in the day, I met David Isherwood at Neo race. He wanted me to do a race. He thought, hey, you would be the perfect person to do a race, like a JQ race, whatever. It could be fun. And like this went on for like 4 years, maybe, of Neo, for at least. And then one year I said, you know what? If you're still wanting to do a race, let's do a race, but only on this condition. And then basically I told him the idea for RCGP. Mm-hmm. And he crazily said, let's do it. I'll do it.
I wonder if he's saying, like, what did I get myself into?
He is. Basically, after this race, he's like, I don't know if I ever want to work with you ever again, he said. Because I was fucking brutal to him too. Like, I let him know what I thought. So the thing is that back then, when I can't even remember when this was, 2017, 18? Like, for like 2 or 3 years before this, I had already been pitching basically RCGP. I wrote blogs about it. I spoke with Red RC, Reinhard, Neo, Buggy, Phil. I tried to get everyone to do something in 8 scale, right? No one did anything. I'm like, fuck it. Then when Isherwood at that point wanted to do something, I already had these thoughts, right? Like how to do it. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. So basically I put in 2 years of work for no pay and no glory, basically, either, to make RCGP happen. Okay? First year of just creating it and formats and rules and all of that and virtual series, website, all of that shit. Second year was the actual race. Like, we got teams involved somehow. We got enough sponsors. We got everything lined up to where we could do it. Tracks, all that crap, right? We get the first season done. I think it was great. The pictures, the videos, the facilities. It was a great series, I thought, in my opinion. Other people have said the same. Then COVID hits. There's 2-year break. I come up with a rush and some format changes and updates and hand over responsibility to David. Like, okay, so it exists. Now you take over and the team and all that shit, right? So I felt like at the event and after, I just felt like all the work I did for the image of RCGP and the idea and all of this, I felt like someone took a massive shit on it. That's how I felt. The same way. Honest, I'm going to be honest. That's how I felt. Because if you go and look back at the fucking attention to detail,
yes,
at previous, like the massive trophies, the press conferences, the RC2 press conferences, the interviews after the races, the red number plates on cars, who is the points leader, like every single fucking little detail, right? It was just a certain way for a reason, okay? And then when I showed up in South Carolina, the gates didn't work, and there was no real tech, and there was no this, and there was no that. I'm like, holy shit, like we have to fucking scramble this together somehow, okay? Then we go to Saturday Rush, actually on Friday, when they had the prize giving for the Rush. I'm like, fuck. The crates, the no backdrop, the fucking tiny trophies. I'm like,
to be fair,
motherfucker. Like that's, be fair, I cannot describe how fucking angry I was at that point.
Yeah, he was pretty angry.
So it's like, you go to that extent to create something, and then there is no excuse. It is a certain level of carelessness or not understanding the importance of image and certain things of what you are trying to achieve.
I agree there.
That led to that point. There is no excuse, not weather, not money, not busy, not anything. There's no excuse. And that happened, right? But having said that, what I want people to understand is that doing something like this is very demanding. It's very difficult. It costs a lot of money. And the most important thing is the intention of the people involved. Because the intention of everyone at RCGP is to do something great, right? That's the intention. Okay, we failed at this instance. I strongly believe if this had been the first RCGP, there wouldn't have been a second one. Okay? Because do you remember back at the very first RCGP?
I wasn't there.
All eyes were on it. All fucking eyes were on that race.
But it looked great.
If there was one small hiccup, it would have blown up. And it did after the race with the race organizers, right? But their words and Scotty, their words had no credibility because the coverage was awesome. The facility was awesome. The racing was awesome. Everything about that RCGP was fucking awesome. So when people talk shit, it didn't stick. And we continued. Right?
Right.
So now to come back after that time, now when people talk shit, it sticks. And that's what frustrated me because it didn't need to be that way.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
But anyway, back to my point was the important thing to notice, even when shit is thrown on and it sticks, is that the intention is pure. Okay? We all make mistakes. We all fail. The track was supposed to provide certain support. What happened? Everyone from the track raced. There was no help. David was alone. I'm not blaming the trackers.
Right. RCGP should have made sure that the people were there.
It is RCGP's responsibility to make the event happen. Okay. I was not involved in the communications. I don't know what happened. I don't know whose fault. I don't want to blame anyone. All I'm saying is that people from the track raced in the event. They were not doing tech. They were not doing anything else. I don't know what the intention was originally. That's a failing on RCGP, right? Mm-hmm. RCGP is coming in, organizing the event. Everything needs to be done like they want it to be done, right? But the intention is that what matters. So going into the next event, these things need to be addressed and fixed. And I'm sure they will be, because the media, 9 people flown in for media. Chris for photographs, Stefan for lap counting. Stefan did the overlay. A lot of new development for the overlay, the 4-lap average qualifying, the super pole, driver intros, all of these things, they look amazing. He coded all that shit. I saw what he did. Like, fuck, I don't understand.
He's amazing.
It's a whole different language.
It's amazing.
He's like, do you want the driver profile to show that current fastest lap and then a live time of the guy who's running? I'm like, okay, can you do that? Yeah, like anything. Like, we just came up with ideas and he just did it. It's fucking amazing. James and Matt, and then the fucking two camera guys, I can't remember their names now.
Ash and Muggles, how they call it?
Some weird name he had, right?
Yeah, I
There
can't
was a
remember.
feeling. Anyway,
Ash.
so they do an amazing job, a great job. They don't get paid their normal rate. They were saying like they're unpaid. Yeah, they get paid, but it's not. They could get more money if they did something else. Mm-hmm. They choose to do this because they believe in RCGP. They believe in what we are doing and how we can grow RC. So they choose to do this for these weekends for less money than they could get on some other gig, because they believe that we can make this happen. Even Bobby gave David props for him just running around like crazy, working his ass off, doing all kinds of shit like tech, fucking the gate starts, this and that, solving problems left and right.
David worked hard.
Yeah, he worked hard in hard conditions too. But the thing is that Mao
didn't have to.
Yeah, Mao also filling in, doing all kinds of things that he wasn't supposed to do.
Justin up on the top, just being quiet,
announcing. So my point is that yes, it's fair game to criticize. We are going to continue to criticize him and bring up some points. But what I want people to remember is that intention.
The intention is,
because
I agree.
When you look at many other race organizers, I don't care what they say, but when you just grow entries no end and limit, like, oh, now we only have one fucking round of practice in a whole day, you can't say that your intention is to somehow make a great race that is the best possible race for the participant. No, it's not. You want to get as many entries as possible, have a festival atmosphere, and make as much money as possible. If you suddenly double your income because the race is much bigger and you provide zero more benefit, what else can your target possibly be, right?
Well, and you know what? I just want to make it clear that there's nothing wrong with high entry races.
Yeah, well, there is, in my opinion.
No, but I mean, there's room for everything.
Yeah, there's room for everything, but not every race has to be that way.
And not every race has to be RCGP.
No, but what I'm saying is that the intention matters. So everyone at this point knows where the intention lies with everyone involved in RCGP. We want to create something that can push our industry further, improve the racing format, improve the coverage, make the coverage more professional, make a bigger separation between professional racing and amateur racing. All of these things. We have already done it, and we will continue to do it. This was only a bump in the road, right? That's kind of my message. So we'll go through all these things that were lacking, but that's my main point. Intention matters.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's the reason I'm involved in this, because, I don't get paid to do this either. You know, I actually got my obviously I get my fees covered to go there, but I still for some reason you figure out a way for me to still pay to where I have to pay myself, because I'm also paying for the pay-per-view.
Had nothing to do with you.
No, I'm just saying, listen to me. It's another joke. So I do this because I believe in it. You know what I mean? I went to this race because I knew the Southeast people, the Southeast RC community very well. And I wanted to call their race, even though I'm not a race caller. I don't think I'm that good at it. Anything. I just know what these people, like who these racers are and their backgrounds. I am not like a race caller, like Lance and them guys. That's not my thing. I could do a little bit, but I enjoyed talking about the backgrounds of these people, like these racers. Like, for instance, I knew that Jake Stikelather and Joe Stikelather, their dad used to race. That's a racing family. I know his dad's been racing since the 80s. And I know these little things, these nuances, and I wanted to give my job was I want to give these RC2 guys as much glory as I could
Yeah.
on the mic. You know what I mean?
One thing I could say is when I was saying about the intentions, that specifically because Dave was involved here, Race Time Entertainment was involved, he does actually invest in his races. Okay.
Yes,
he
he
makes
does.
a big deal about his podium. Okay. So, you know, you could say like, yeah, the podium's great, but what about the fucking race? You know? But
See, now you're going to start trouble all over again.
No, just fucking listen, okay? So he invests in his podium. He has his monsters. He has his smoke machine. He has how the drivers enter. He has music. He creates an atmosphere, an event atmosphere, okay? That costs money. He does that. He makes an effort to do that, right?
Yes, he does.
Also, at a different race, AMS, he made the effort. We discussed different formats. He did a different format. He had a schedule. He kept the entries. I think that Dave does care about his events and he invests in his events. So when I was making that broad statement, it was not really directed at him that much. Some other people more so. Okay? I just wanted to make that clear so they don't fucking have a follow-up on their podcast.
Look, I like the showmanship that Dave brings is great. I mean, I've said it.
And, okay, that's a good segue, actually. The RCGP completely fucking lacked that. There was no announcer for the people there. They didn't know what the fuck was going on. Justin did call some traffic and who's up next, the marshals and that, but there was no sort of continuous reminders for people announcing of what's going on the track. Like the atmosphere at the race was lacking.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought that was a big mistake, especially in America, because the other American races have that. So
right, I know
that live stream and that there's different races going on. There's a race going on for people who are not there, and that's awesome. That's great. They see all the announcing, they know what's going on, they watch the racing. But there are people at the event racing.
Exactly.
And you have to take care of them also. So
I agree.
Where are we at this point? The races at the event. Shitty podium, shitty trophies. 40 plus guys, no interviews, no trophies. Juniors, no interviews, shitty trophies, shitty podium, right? That's already not good. No announcing, no good also. So the atmosphere for the people at the race, that's important.
Right. I agree with you 100%.
And for example, that's something that Dave does really well.
Yes. I agree with you.
Combination
exactly.
Of the two.
So agreed. So when I found out there was an announcing, I went ape shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? And then I actually got them to change it. And then but what Justin started announcing, then the speaker is too close to the broadcast booth.
Yeah, but we had that exact same thing in Manila.
Yeah, and then they're like, we can't do that. I'm
possible.
Like, yeah, we could have moved the speaker or got some other speakers or something, man. Just people weren't thinking in that sense. Everybody, and I was, even Justin, I felt bad for him because he's good at what he does. Like, you know what I mean? And he was like, dude, I just had to sit up there in the wind and call traffic. It was whatever. And it was shit. And I was like, I agree with you. Because we had our own debriefs. I told Mal, Stefan, and Justin and him, like, right at dinner I said, what? Did we forget how to run a race in 2 years? Like, did you forget what the whole purpose of this is?
Yeah.
So I was highly critical of people. Like, I didn't even really speak to Isherwood for a couple of days because I was just angry. Like, you know what I mean? And I didn't want to bring it up because I knew he was stressed and he was all busy trying to do that stuff. So I just shut up and did my job.
Yeah. And another big thing that was lacking, I thought, was that we'll get into this. This is a good segue, I think, for the pay-per-view. So growing the sport, exposure, all that shit. I think that was really lacking. So you had the pay-per-view. There was the Rush on Friday or wherever it was streamed. People
but that was
saw
free.
That was free. Then after that, it's like radio silence. There were some photos posted on Facebook and the schedule, but it's like, where were all the updates?
Yeah, man. I had to get on
post
people.
Like Facebook. We have to post on Instagram. We have to post some a free short highlight video clips. Something like we need to do that better.
I agree.
Seriously, like that was another lacking thing, and also not only that, like the whole point of the Rush, the whole reason for it existing is that you can have a 30-minute thing that you can invite people to, a local school, university, sports club, whatever. You can get a bunch of people to come over. You can get them to walk through the pits, talk to people for 15 minutes, whatever. After that, they watch a 30-minute race where there's driver intros, there's a qualifying race, there's heads-up racing, and there's a podium, champagne celebration. You have a winner. So they understand from the fucking minute they get there to the minute they leave, they understand what's going on. Oh, these other guys racing. They're racing these cars. That orange one is my favorite. Then they race. Oh, fuck, the orange one won. Then they go to the pits afterwards and they talk to the winner. You understand? Like it's an event. You get it from start to finish. That's right. Complete fail. No one there. No local media contacted, nothing.
Yeah,
like,
I don't understand.
These are the things that we have to be better at. They are the exact same things that we talk about and we push and we criticize other people for. Then RCGP needs to go the extra mile. They have to. In Austria, there were school kids there, but they didn't really have something to watch. This year, they have something to watch. We can invite the school kids specifically for the rush. Do you understand? Like, there are so many things that I'm frustrated with. It's not like
I expect better. I hold them as a higher standard.
Someone sucks. It's just, people expect more from RCGP, and I expect more from RCGP.
Me too.
I know how talented everyone is. The issue with RCGP as an organization, I think, is that there needs to be more of a structure. There needs to be someone who the buck stops with me kind of person. Like, I'm the boss. This is what we're doing. This is the hierarchy of everyone. Responsibility is shared. Everyone knows what they do, and then they do that to the best of their ability. You know,
I would 100% agree with you.
This was a good wake-up call, I think. It was a great wake-up call. That's why I'm not too mad at your post, because your post raised all this shit. Other people are talking about it. Now I think RCGP needs to look internally also at how to improve this, how to avoid this in the future, because I truly believe it's a great thing. I truly believe it's attracted great people to work together. Now just have to make it work.
Yeah, I have my little complaints. Like announcing, I was like, oh, what the, come on, like, how can you not do this? And my biggest, you know what? Before this, I remember saying to David, because people obviously were asking me about rules. Some of the way the rules were worded and all that type of stuff with sign up, and it confused the shit out of me. And I'm like, look, I'm an idiot. I know this. I'm not the sharpest tool in this. It takes a few tries, but I figure it out. I'm smart, but it takes a few tries. So I said to them, if I can get it in one go, everybody will get it. I said, my point was, and I tried to stress this to David, and I told them, I told Mao and Stefan this too. They kept saying, well, in Europe. I said, well, this ain't fucking Europe. This is South Carolina, and you are introducing so much new stuff to people, and nobody has explained it. I said there was no drivers meeting. There was nothing. I said to these guys, I said, and I know you have a little bit to do with that because you took a long time to get the schedule out. So it's not all RCGP's fault. You do have some blame in this, because I'm going to be honest with you.
Having a schedule up a month before the race does nothing.
Right. So what I would have done is, like, I'm seeing, and I'm going to use them, I've seen other race promoters like do video drivers meetings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dave Leikum of Race Time Entertainment does a great freaking job of having, like, he did that video on where to park, like all that type of stuff. I said to myself, we have these badass, like, editing guys who can do all this stuff and work for Monster Energy and all this stuff. We can make a video. Why is there no video? There should have been a video explaining it, because I knew. Look, all right. So let's just look at the things we introduced into this race. New format, schedule, gate starts for pro guys. One for the
marshalling.
Yeah. Marshalling before your main. Spec tire, Everlaps.
I will admit that I overestimated the sort of involvement of your average racer. Like, if I go to a race, I will fucking read the rules. I will look at the schedule. I'll figure out what's going on.
Right,
Most
but
people clearly don't do that. Like, they show up and then there's like, when do I race kind of situation. So if it's something different, like, you have to look at the marshalling schedule because it's made in a way that normally if you don't bump, you just piss off and you don't marshal. That's very often what happens. Because what can you do? Someone just pissed off. He was mad. He didn't marshal. So what you do is you marshal the race before. So Bobby fucked this up completely, but when he was saying, but basically you have a Christmas tree format. You have an 8th final A, 8th final B, quarterfinal A, quarterfinal B, you know. So the quarterfinal A would marshal the 1/8 final A. So they marshal, then there's another 20-minute race, then they race. So this way you ensure that everyone is there, everyone can marshal, and then they race.
Right.
Okay. But if you don't know that, if you've never ever heard about this, that needs to be explained to you. And that's something that even I didn't consider. Like, we have to push out the information.
I've been telling you that forever. Keep it simple.
Also,
nobody listens to me.
Yeah, but that is simple.
It's simple to you.
Yeah.
It's simple to you in your autistic European brain.
No,
right?
it's fucking simple.
No, listen. Shut up.
Marshal before you race. Easy.
That's something that's never been introduced into American racing.
Right.
You've talked about it.
Another thing that happened was, like, Bornhorst in one of his interviews said that RCGP is so confusing. I never know. Oh, it was the Inside Track Live. He said, I never know when I'm up and blah, blah, blah. And then thank God for Aidan Horn, right? He was there and he said, actually, I knew fucking a week ago when I was going to be up on Friday.
He was awesome.
Because there's a schedule, you know, and that's true. So that just proves that even if you have the information, you email the information, you fucking print it out and put it on a notice board, you hand it to people in paper form, they are not going to read it. You have to make sure that people know and understand the information.
Exactly.
Right?
I agree with that.
There is a literal schedule that says that you are racing at 5 minutes past 1 on Friday. And people will say, I had no idea when I'm up. The literal schedule says that at 5 minutes past 1, you will have a 3-minute warm-up followed by a 6-minute race. It literally says that.
I know that.
And they say, I don't know the format. I don't understand. Do you understand? So
I get that, but that's what I was trying to tell you guys
we
going
have
into
to do
this.
a better job of sharing that information.
You know what I was very upset with, and I said this to Mal, and I said this to Stefan, and I said this to Justin. I said, out of everybody, and even including you, I said, out of everybody that's involved here, I'm like the lowest guy on the totem pole. You know what I mean? I talk about this and all this stuff. I said, none of you ever came to me. I said, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, Joseph, and you can think whatever you want. I think I have my finger on the pulse of RC. Like, when I say the pulse of RC, I mean the people. You know what I mean? The people that are doing the RC too, all this type of stuff. I chat, I talk to people every day. You know, and that's what I do. When I ain't doing this, I'm talking to people, you know, all that type of stuff. Out of all this, and you have your finger on the pulse of like the business side of RC and all that type of stuff. But out of all these people that were involved in, I'm the only one who knows especially in America, who knew the American RC scene and even knew the Southeast scene even more. And not one, David, none of those guys from the media ever thought to even ask me. They did a few times. David's like, oh, can you read this? Can you pick out by the way, I did try to help pick out trophies, and the ones I picked out were badass. But I don't know what happened. Not one of them said, hey, Keenan, what do you think of this? What I told them, I said, look, man, I said, you're introducing a lot of new stuff to people. I said, I knew Everlaps was going to be confusing because I remember being confused in that Fonda Alley. I said, you have to like make this simple, like simple explanations, and you have to repeat. I said, there should have been and I said, not one person came to me and said, well, Keenan, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? I tried to give them my input, and I'll tell you what, I better be on that debrief. If I'm not in that debrief meeting soon, I'm not doing it anymore. As simple as that. Also, because I have a lot to say to them.
I definitely didn't communicate these changes and ideas well enough either, because I was busy with other stuff. Because clearly having the document, sending out the document isn't enough, because people don't read it. Because the exact process for how to do a Super Bowl was explained in detail weeks before the race. We spoke about it in a meeting, face to face, and still it was not understood. So these are growing pains. We just have to get through them, I believe. I think, as I said, this was a good wake-up call. Now we're going to have a debrief meeting. We're going to go into the next race much better prepared, and we're going to knock people's socks off. That's all.
Oh, you better, because if we don't, I'm going to be on your shit, and I'm involved in this. You. Yeah, well, that's what I look, and unlike, and this, I guess, I have a feeling that maybe David and maybe some of the guys might be a little bit pissed off because he went hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
it is what it is.
It is. They need to, like, it's like, hey, you didn't do a good job, but we didn't do a good job as we did the last time. You got to do it better.
So overall communication of everything was lacking. I guess is the last point.
It was just lack of communication.
Yeah. So the final point we need to cover, it's 1.5 hours, way over time limit. The final thing is the pay-per-view, because going into this event, there was already some friction behind the scenes because of pay-per-view, because not everyone agreed. Most people disagreed, actually, I should say, with pay-per-view. I was very much pushing for pay-per-view because I'll explain it really simply. I don't like pay-per-view. I want to go online and watch my Supercross for free. I want to watch whatever the fuck I want for free right now when it's happening. Mm-hmm. That's how I am. I'm sure everyone is like that. I don't want to spend money. But if I want to go and watch my MXGP, I have to pay. And I pay. I can't remember. 100 euros, whatever it is, a year. I pay that. Supercross, about the same. I do that because I really care about motocross. I really care about Supercross. And I want to watch those races live. And I want to be sure that I can watch them when I want. So I pay. Pay-per-view is something that is normal. Just about every sport has pay-per-view in some form. UFC, MotoGP,
well, Live
F1.
RC had it back in the day too.
Yeah, so it exists. It's not a new idea. Mm-hmm. So having said that I don't like pay-per-view, there's a reason for RCGP adopting it. The reason is that it will enable not just RCGP, but RC in general to have better and more good race coverage. And what I mean is that it's not just the live race, not just the event you're watching right now, but other stuff too. So media that can be made and edited after the race, put out, like the RCGP driven thing, like the Formula One Drive to Survive. We all know that these kind of videos, they really help. They help to tell the story behind the scenes. They help to introduce new characters, drama, all that stuff. But it's very time consuming to make. It costs a lot of money. How the fuck can we do that? We can't. So, if we crowdfund, if we get a lot of people to pay a bit of money, which they can definitely afford, we can do it. We are not going to get a Red Bull or a Monster Energy or a...
Not enough people.
Whoever. They do not care.
Too small.
We are a fly's turd in this world, right?
That's pretty small.
Not even a cow pat.
Dude, that was a pretty good analogy.
Yeah, not even a Keenan cable on a Monday after a heavy weekend of eating. Like, literally a fly's turd, okay? They do not care. They will not care. Our videos get tens of thousands of views in general in RC. You need like consistent hundreds of thousands or millions for anyone to care. We'll never get that amount. It doesn't matter. We'll never be mainstream. It doesn't matter. We'll never have thousands of people attend our races. It doesn't matter. We have enough followers within RC to make a great fucking spectacle of our races, to have great content online, to grow our hobby and sport. We can do it together if we.
Well, that's the future.
Instead of fucking argue, right? There are other sports also that do the same thing. Like they have organizers, they have pay-per-view. They fund themselves by sort of user subscriptions, etc. Like it's possible to do. You can't rely on 5 brands or 7 brands in the industry or whatever to pay $50,000, $30,000, like big money to do something. No, you rely on like 2,000 people paying $10. Do you understand what I mean?
I agree. I have my. I'm gonna.
Let's do the math right now. Let's do the math right now. Let's say 2,000 people paid $10. Okay, and they did that for 12 months. Do you know how much money that is? That's $240,000. Right? That was only $10 a month. Every single idiot watching this podcast can afford $10 a month. They could literally lose $10 a month and not know that they lost it. They could have coins fall out.
There's probably only like 20 people watching this podcast. That's enough.
There are way more than that, I'm sure. They could sit down on the couch and lose coins, over a period of a month, and it makes up $10 or $15 or whatever, and they wouldn't notice, right? That's what we're talking about. It's fucking 2 cups of Starbucks coffee probably at this point in California.
All right.
It's not a big amount of money.
That's not really, but yeah.
But you get the point. So
I get it, but I just wanted to say something.
Wait, a lot of people pay a bit, and we can do something more than we can today. That's why we introduced pay-per-view.
Right.
So say what you're going to say, and then I'll tackle the biggest criticism we have.
So
pay-per-view.
I understand why pay-per-view has to happen. I understand the reason why.
Yeah.
My thing is, how can we get the best of both worlds and please both sides and still get people to do it? So I think it should be like this. I personally think that it should be kind of like how Live RC did it back in the day. You get your still camera, you get commentary, you get scoring, stuff like that. Maybe it's a good camera. You just put it up there and it can see the hill track and you can see the car, so people can, and the chat, because that's what the chat is, very interactive.
Stop.
I didn't even get finished with my stuff.
I know already. You want the stationary camera for free, then you pay for premium. And here's my big disagreement with that. There should be no shit coverage. None. Okay? Having a stationary camera is shit coverage.
I agree.
Some people would watch it, but it's still shit coverage. And that shouldn't exist.
A lot of people tune in just to listen and chat.
Yeah, wait. I would say that the execution right now was far from perfect. It needs to be better. Like I said, if you were on pay-per-view, it was okay. If you weren't, it was radio fucking silence. It needs to be way better. There needs to be a lot more, like, at that moment, free stuff. The rush was free. Just do that properly. Have some highlights for free. Have some interview for free. Feed social media with free shit. Put up some video on YouTube that's free, right? That needs to happen. But you have everything else behind the paywall, pay-per-view, watch the stream.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. So in a way, it is the best of both worlds. You have some free stuff, but you have to pay
I can
to
agree
watch
there.
the
I can
whole
agree there. I can agree there.
And this leads on to the biggest criticism, which is don't show anything shit. Okay, make everything good. That's my point. The biggest criticism is, this really fucking annoys me, is people saying that, pay-per-view, no one's going to see it. So, Jesus Christ, don't you understand the basics of this? All the same people are going to see it. It's just that only the people who pay see it live. I was watching the Raw Nationals, and there were like 300 people online. I was watching, 300 people were watching with me live. That's what we are arguing about? Yes, there have been some races that have had thousands.
Sure, it might have been more.
I think for the main, there was more. I can't remember.
Most people tune in for the main. It had to be like 1,000 plus on the main.
Okay. Well, anyway, wow. That's amazing. That's just earth-shattering numbers, right? the videos get like 20,000 views, 10,000 views, 50,000 views, whatever, right? Good videos on YouTube. When you put a highlights package out, or you put best this or best that, or you put fast lap, or you put up Super Bowl as separate videos, they still get those views. When you make posts on Instagram, when you make posts on Facebook, they still get those views. The only thing people don't see is the event live, the full live stream, right?
Right.
So the idea is you create content. You create a lot of content. A lot of people see it. They see it for free. All the same people who would normally see it. It's just that if they want to watch everything live, they have to pay for it. So the argument that because you have a paywall, fewer people see it, it's just false. It is wrong.
Fake news.
Fewer people see the live stream. Fewer people do not see the content in general. Do you understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. They still know the race happened. They still see racing. They still see the pictures. They still see the posts on Instagram and Facebook. They still see videos on YouTube. It's just if they want to watch the whole live stream, they have to pay. Like, this one point annoys me to no end. You can criticize pay-per-view, but have a legit criticism, not that bullshit.
You know, I saw some people saying, well, you could just put it on YouTube and all this stuff. Dude, like, we would need millions of views to actually make money off YouTube and all that. Like, people don't understand realistic. That the amount of people that like, you can just go look at your video. Like, some of these videos, they get popular, but look at like hardcore videos. Like, like, let's go look at some of these races. They're not getting a whole bunch of views because it's just RC people going in there and looking at it.
There was nine media people at RCGP, right? Which is not even enough to do everything that they do. They were working like crazy, right? Fly 9 people somewhere, have rental cars, hotels, and pay them. It's an easy like $25,000, $30,000 right there. Just that.
Yeah.
Okay. Then limit your entries to 96. Not 960.
You lost
like
money
DNC.
on this race. They lost money.
You
literally
understand what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a different way of approaching this. We want to do something, and that's also what frustrated me. Like, the people who are paying $160 and they have to buy control tires too, and they go to the race, they need a fucking amazing event. They need all the track time, a massive like festival atmosphere, amazing races, fucking press conferences, interviews. They need the whole shebang. So when they leave there, they're like, holy smokes, that was amazing. You know?
I agree.
That's what they need.
I agree. I have to say this.
It's not non-negotiable. That's
I agree.
It's
not even no excuses. Mind you, I have to say that
you
the battle was shit.
You can't do that. You can't do that if you have hundreds of entries.
No,
it doesn't work. Yeah, so that's why the entries are limited. That's the reason for it. So that's like a non-negotiable point. Entries are low for a reason. We want to do something different. Okay?
Oh, I just want to clarify something. The race was capped at 96, right? Because people said it was 150.
No, it was oversubscribed and some people canceled and waiting list people got in.
Right. So it was never supposed to be 150 people.
No, it was
supposed to be 96. Right.
Yeah,
I just want to get
96 because of how the finals worked out.
Yeah.
So, so it's just a different way of doing things. And the pay-per-view thing, it's there for a reason. It doesn't limit viewership. If enough people understand what we are trying to do and support it, even if they support only for 1 or 2 months or the 4 months that the races are in, that's great. If people have $100 to spare and they buy the whole year because they want to see World's Warm-Up or 8-scale Euros, 8-scale electric Euros have coverage, which currently don't, then subscribe for the full year. And when there are enough subscribers, we can do that coverage. So, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about the pay-per-view. Just, it frustrates me when people criticize with false claims.
Yeah, and I want to say this. We're talking about all the negative stuff. We're going to actually, I think we're going to do a podcast and go through like proper race analysis. I will say this. And this is, like, we're doom and gloom, right? You know what I mean? Right now, because you and I both knew, like, we both know, like, this standard should be high. You know what I mean? Should be high. I agree with you. I agree with Dave, too. It should be high. I agree with everybody. It should be high. That's what I was angry about. But also, like, I just feel, I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? I can't remember. I can't remember. I had a whole spiel and I just lost it. I'll probably remember it in a bit.
Something about you expect more?
Yeah, I expect more. I wanted to. Okay, yeah. So this is what it was. The people that can't, like the people, I had a few people that went to Thunder Alley the year before, and they went to this race, and it just said, yeah, this was not like the last one, and they gave their reasons. I'm not gonna give it like because I don't want to bash, you know what I mean? But they gave their reasons. A lot of it was RCGP, but some other things too. There's no excuses. Like I'm not making excuses for nothing. Like RCGP should have took care of everything. Even though we're talking all this doom and gloom, it ended up actually like people that were pissed off from, like people that missed their practice session the first day. Like that should have never happened. Like we should have slowed it on. Oh, that's what I want to say. We should have slowed it down a little bit. We had enough time where there could have been slowed on. You can be 10 minutes late, right?
No, I don't agree with that.
I do though, because it was too fast paced. Okay, you say, can let me finish? Shut up. There was a father-son team there, right? There's two fathers, there was a few. But like Jermaine and Mark said it in one of my interviews. He said it's just he said it's just fast paced, and then he had to wrench for his son. I think he raced, I'm not sure. And then it was like another father-son team there, and his son was doing good. And the father had to stop racing because he just didn't have enough time to work on that stuff. And that's where I said, I think you just have to slow.
They are just used to the idea of actually.
I get that, but he wanted to focus. I get that, but sometimes you just like, hey man, stretch it up. Like there should have been like, hey, we get like registration starts this time. We're gonna have a drivers meeting this time. That way, while the drivers meeting is going on, people can still be registered and getting their tires and stuff like that. And then we're gonna start 20 minutes after that. Just like it doesn't like Joseph. We don't have to get out of there.
Maybe for the American races, we can have more entries and less running for people. In Europe,
no, that doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like that.
No, I'm saying that's the way you get more time. You have more heats, more entries. There's more time between the runs.
Right. So that's what I want to say to you. That's what I want to say to you and all the Europeans. You can do your things.
In Europe, the schedule we did was fine. No issue.
Yeah, but this isn't freaking Europe. How many times I have to tell you that? That's all I heard. That's all I heard. Well, in Europe. Well, in case you guys didn't know, the only Europeans here are you.
Almost 2 hours. Let's get this over with. Let's just finish up with a few.
Yeah. When I have a point, you want to finish it up. I wanted to say one thing. If you could say one thing to Dave and those guys right now, what would you say?
Well, my conclusion would be that I think that so I could address the straw man that Dave had over, like, I think, or me and you and Max, we think that there can only be one type of race,
that's what I forgot.
Everything has to be the RCGP format, and
I've never said that
ever.
Never.
I've never ever said that. I've said the opposite. He knows it. He's lying.
I've said there's room for all races. All races.
Yeah, it's a straw man. What I have said is that we can do better. Every single race doesn't have to be maximum entries, stand in line for practice, shit track time, shit value for money. If you are there to race, I understand. If you are there to socialize, run 10 different classes, all that shit, it might be great for you. But if you are, like, for example, me, who would prefer to run less classes and get more track time and not run at 8 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, then it's not that great. So I flip that back to him. Why does every race have to be that way? So in the last year,
he said that doesn't have to.
Wait. Let me fucking talk.
I'm sorry.
In the last year, we've seen a good, positive progression where he has changed it up. He has his psycho crazy race. Then he has capped entries at AMS. Great.
And he has capped entries at Southern Nats.
Yeah, so that's good. So my point is that maybe we can find a way to where there are psycho races, and then there are also races that people can attend who are not psycho or who don't prefer the psycho type of racing, who want controlled practice and more fair scenario for everyone where pro drivers don't have other people stand in line or just purely cut the line to practice, So maybe there can be races also like that. Maybe psycho is itself, and then there are other types of races. And then there's RCGP, and there's we can all find a place. Yeah, maybe someone like Joey or JBRL maybe Joey can have his massive $1,000 entry DNC, but maybe when he club races, he could instead do it so that, hey, instead of having to spend 16 hours at the damn track, you can come for 4 hours and do your qualifying runs and finals and piss off. So you stagger the day. There's a morning session, a day session, a night session. Joey makes probably more money because now the family that has someone who has softball practice in the evening can do RC in the morning, go home, regroup, and go for softball practice. So we are limiting ourselves by being lazy, okay? Only the nutcases can do RC right now in America because they have to spend all day at the fucking track. And not everyone can do that. Why can't we make a system where people who can't or don't want to spend all day at the track also can race? Okay? Some people do that. OCRC was a great example. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist anymore. They had nighttime club races, Sunday daytime club races. Revelation is doing it. They have like 5-hour club races. It's possible. It's just like you can have these sort of successful, bigger races in different ways where you don't require people to sacrifice that much of their time to attend. We can do that, and we can make the racing formats more fun, more heads-up racing. All these things are possible to do. So my final thing is just, I hope that more people look at what other people are doing, take ideas from other people, and update their race program a bit. Make it more accessible and more fun for people. You can still do your 100% own idea crazy shit if you want. That's fine. PMB can be psycho. DNC can have 1,000 entries. RCGP can be this unique thing with a small amount of entries and a pro class and all that. And then all the other club racing, try to figure out what's best for you and how to get the most amount of people at your races.
So what I would say to Dave would be, all right, I'm going to say this in a different way.
Say it to the industry.
Yeah, I'm going to say this to
Make
the
it
industry
wider,
because it's not
broader.
just to Dave. It's not just to Dave. The RC industry has had 10 to 15 years of no independent media coverage. It's had 10 to 15 years of...
Not that long. Sure.
Okay, let's say 10 years. Let's say 10 years. Like, let's be honest. Like, everybody started getting on Facebook.
Maybe 5 years.
Longer than that.
When did
but
Neo
there's been
stop?
there's been no...
5 years.
Okay, let's say when Neo went, like, all PC and stopped being, like what it used to be, it kind of died. So let's say we've had I've been doing this for 5 years, so it was way, way more PC
7.
before that, right? 7 years, 10 years. Let's just say 10
Oh my
years.
God, it's not.
All right?
Okay.
Just agree with me for once and shut up.
Okay, whatever.
Jesus, man. You never have. You know what? You're the type of friend.
I'll mute myself.
You know what?
Wow.
You're the type of friend, when I say, hey, dude, you got my back? Like, we're getting in a fight here in the club, and I look back, and you're like, way back there. Yeah, I got your back. Here's my thing to the industry. You guys have had a good 7 to 10 years of everybody telling you how great you are and everybody telling how everything is so good and all that type of stuff, right? There's nobody wants to ruffle feathers. Nobody wants to nobody wants to criticize anybody openly. They all do it privately. Everybody does this privately, right? We came along the NNRC has come along in the last 3 years, and what started out as just you and me wanting to talk about RC and be cool has quickly developed into where people come to get the information, where people come to get entertained, and where people come to learn about different things in RC, right? So we eventually, the podcast eventually has evolved into media of some sorts. I have you more than me, because you and Max criticize a lot more than me. I know, like they say, oh, you're the good cop back. It's not that. Like, I don't agree with everything you say. You know what I mean? I thought you was wrong what you said about, you're muted.
That's kind of how good cop, bad cop works.
No, but
you mean that it's not
like
the strategy, it's reality.
No, it's like, if you guys know us in reality, this is how we act in reality, real life. This isn't a show. Like, my hobby is actually fucking him off. Like, that's my hobby. And I did that all at RCGP and whenever I go. So my point is, you guys had this good 7 to 10 years of people not holding you accountable for anything that you've done. I'm not here to throw you under the bus. That's not my job. I'm there for when you do throw yourself under the bus, because we need to hold everybody accountable. That goes to Roar. That goes to any race. Like, I'm not coming to these races to bash them. I went to DNC. I did my thing. I enjoyed myself. Joey talked to me. He's like, oh, I hear you do this and that. I said, look, dude, I think what you do is great. If you mess up, like I just said, look, I'm here. I just want to take something of your, I don't talk, like, I get it. Like, people get upset when you talk about them, like, and all that type of stuff. You know, I get it. I'm not criticizing. I don't criticize everybody. I'm not criticizing just to criticize. I'm criticizing because I think everything can be better. You know what I mean? We offer solutions. I also then praise and promote, like, for many different things. Like, maybe what I'm doing in my little world is just crazy, but I think that this platform has a worldwide audience. It does. It's grown to that point. Like, you know what I mean? So if I'm promoting your race, then other people are going to see it. It's like Montpellier. We was all excited about Montpellier, and the race coverage was shit. I was so embarrassed. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, it's so good. And then it was shit. So I am just like in my little world, like, I am doing this because I am so passionate for RC. Let me tell you how passionate I am. I don't fucking, like, this isn't making me, like, this isn't paying all my bills. Like, Joseph, you know that. Like, this isn't paying the bit. Like, we make enough money to pay for the expenses, save a little money to go traveling and all that type of stuff. But dude, like, it ain't like, this isn't paying my bills, but I'm passionate because I believe that we need to have change. And for us to have change, we have these race promoters like Joey, like Dave. I think Dave got upset when I said his races have potential. I think a lot of things get lost in transition in text. One thing I like about Joey, he puts on great races and he sees the importance of having full media coverage there, right? He's also earned the respect, I believe, in the industry with his race DNC, which is one of the oldest races in which can be, let's be honest.
There's a difference. There's a difference. Live RC show up for free to DNC.
Right. I know this.
They won't show up for Dave's race. I agree. There's a difference. I would like to see if Joey would pay for Live RC to be there.
Me too. And I feel that if Dave should get the same respect.
Dave pays for a photographer to be there, which is great.
Yes.
We get great photographs. Joey doesn't.
Right. So I agree. Okay. But Joey's kind of earned that right to have that. You know what I mean? His races he's been doing it for a long time. He gets the Euro drivers over there, all that type of stuff. So obviously, DNC is the first big race, so it's going to be there. Now, PNB, I know that's like, for me, it's like in America, it's like DNC, Nationals, maybe Nationals. It depends. But like PNB, you know what I mean? And I'm not meaning that as a slight. Like, you can might as well say like PNB, like, and the only reason that DNC is on a higher level is because it has the international prestige where you got a lot of international people.
Exactly.
And the Nationals is the Nationals. Like, we can't, that is the Nationals.
That's actually one thing that I think Dave misses, because I know he has said that he doesn't gain anything from the coverage. Why should he spend the money on the coverage when he doesn't gain anything? He puts on a great show for the people who are there.
Yeah, and that's great too.
My point is that if you did the coverage, like if AMS had amazing coverage and a schedule and that format, you can bet that the following years, like
the Europeans
5,
would come.
6, 7 Europeans would show up.
Exactly. When I first met Dave,
that's what he doesn't get. Like,
right.
AMS in November could be like DNC.
Exactly.
But it's not the first race of the year. It's the last race of the year. So the last hurrah of the season, everyone's there. It's just all the top Europeans are there. All the top Americans are there. We know the weather is going to be good because it's indoors. The track's awesome. It's a big showdown with great coverage. Everyone's going to watch that race. We know that it's going to be 2 months of radio silence or 3 months after that. So it could be that. This is what I meant. Like, because he got upset when I said this, right? Because I was trying to pass the olive branch to him, and I was like, "Look, dude, when I mean by potential, like, your events are great, but like I remember when I first went to DNC, Dave said to me, "Hey, man, I really want to get the Europeans here." You know what I mean? And I was like, "Yeah, I think it would be great." PNB,
like, yeah, he wants to get into PNB. Well, the Europeans go to DNC in Silver State. Why? because of the prestige.
But I can also
No,
say
but
that.
Let me finish.
Wait. Before
ahead.
before you go on, the reason why some people didn't go to DNC is because they think that it's a shit race with no schedule. You just hang around all day and drive twice a day. Like that's what they say, and that's why they don't go. Okay? That's why I think that DNC is already big enough. Europeans go, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can probably figure out who wasn't there. But something like AMS, he did the schedule, he did a format, perfect. If there was great coverage, Europeans would go because their sponsors would see the value in sending.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say. So I've said this before. See, and this is the thing that aggravates me about Dave. He takes it personal that he takes, I guess you told me like after AMS, I'm going to address it. You said he had an issue with me, right? So I'm assuming this.
You take things personally too. You're the same.
Yes, but I've never, like when I criticized, like when I said, hey, get better trophies, when we said get better trophies, it wasn't personal, and he did it.
It was personal. It's fucking his baby, his race. That is personal.
Yes, but we just said, hey, get better trophies. You
took his criticism the same way personally and made that, you wrote a fucking novel on Facebook.
Can you let me finish?
You're the same way, dude.
Yes, just but I don't take, listen, I didn't take what Bobby and all them guys said personal. I didn't blame him for that and all that type of stuff. I'm saying he has I don't have nothing personal against Dave. He's treated me well when I went to his races.
I don't think he has anything personal against you either.
Okay, well, if he doesn't, that's fine. We can hash this out and be cool. I'm cool with that. But when I just wanted to be clear, like I have said many positive things. I promoted his race. I've done all that type of stuff. And I think he just never sees that stuff because he focuses on the criticism more than anything. And I want him to say, hey, man, I don't just criticize. I've said positive things and promoted your race and all that type of stuff. And I've been to your races. I've brought people to your races. I've organized people to go to your races when I'm not there. All that type of stuff. I'm not your enemy, man. Like, I'm not your enemy. I get it. Like, you think we're taking shots at you all the time. He thinks the intro is a shot at him. We ain't good after. Like, we criticize everybody. We also give props to everybody. Why? Because you guys aren't used to being held accountable by media. You're used to everybody telling you what you want to hear. Oh, the race was great. This was dialed. Yeah. But as soon as they turn around, look, the race was stupid. I only got this much runtime. I only did this. I'm just saying what I heard. I'm not saying what I think. I'm saying what I heard. You know what I mean?
So, in conclusion, we all have to be better.
We all have to be better.
Can be.
And I wanted to tell Dave.
Stop fucking complaining about $15 a month. I don't want to hear another thing about it.
And I just want to say, hey, Dave, I think you put on a great event. He's going to say this is false because he thinks I'm a bullshitter. But that's fine. I said, Dave, I think what you do is great. I think you have all the ingredients. You have 5 races. You put on the best indoor races in the world. You put on a show. You have all the ingredients to help push RC to the next level. Why I always ask you to get coverage is because it's not always just about the 300-400 people that are there. You have thousands and thousands of people that want to watch this stuff. And if you start doing that, more you'll get those Europeans and all that stuff that you want.
It's not rocket science. Why did Neo Buggy have people from Indonesia, and the Philippines, and South Africa and Australia? I haven't seen them at AMS. Why do you think that is?
Right. And he'll say, don't worry about my race. I'm not worried about your race. You can do whatever you want.
It's the coverage, and that's what we offered him. So we see where this goes from there. Hopefully this opened some minds of some people. We have a lot of work to do on every front, every one of us. And let's just keep moving forward, because I think the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of progress on every level.
Yes, everybody's doing better. Anyway, that's it. I know it's April 1st. I made a post saying this is the last podcast ever. April Fools, everybody. April Fools. Yeah. And you know what, man? I want to shout out. You know what? I want to say something, man. I want to say something to Bobby, Dave, and all this crew. Like, I like you guys. Like, Bobby's my friend.
Don't walk anything back now. You always.
I'm not walking anything back. I'm not walking anything back. I'm just saying. You guys are my friend. Like, Bobby's my friend. Like, I don't. Like, when you said, I told him, I think the track's great. I don't agree with you. I like the track. You know what I mean? All that type of stuff. You taking shots at Dave that day on the podcast was wrong. But I can't help that when it's live.
He's had a point too.
Yeah, but
That point too about
it's
the
how you
entry.
say things sometimes. It
Doesn't matter. I
don't.
don't give a shit about any one of you's feelings.
Oh Lord, here we go.
I just invented English there. Anyway, let's get this done with. I'm over this.
Hey, so the next podcast, are we going to talk about the positive stuff of RCGP?
Yeah, next we talk about the race. Get Max on; he can analyze it. I'll just throw in a couple comments.
Yeah, because Max also saw it from outside of you.
Yeah, but we aren't going to discuss this anymore. We talk about the racing, Average Joe and Ron Falk and all that shit.
Above Average Joe did.
Yeah,
above. He was good.
Let's see. We'll talk about it next week.
He was good.
Okay,
he was good. You know what?
Good?
Go F yourself.
Don't get triggered over some trivial shit again on Facebook.
No.
Now the tables have turned. How they have turned.
Tables have turned.
Don't get triggered on Facebook and write some posts.
I ain't getting triggered. Leave me alone.
Control your emotions.
You, Mr. Facebook fighting guys for 10 days.
I'm over it. I'm off social media.
Oh, so now you know how I used to feel. Now you know how I used to feel.
I know exactly how you used to feel.
Now you know exactly how I used to feel. So take that.
I just don't care enough to worry about it. Okay.
All right. Anyway, you know what? Yeah, it's been fun. Thank you to everybody that came out to the race. It was great to see you all. Thank you for supporting.
So much for 1 hour.
Yeah, that was 2. That's just under 2. My voice is going again. I had a blast. Even though I'm lost my voice, I had fun. And yeah, I hope RCGP takes our constructive criticism and does better. Does a lot better because they need to.
I don't know. I haven't spoken with Isherwood after Tuesday.
I love you, Isherwood. Like, it's like
Isherwood, go listen to On the Tone and all the props they gave you there at the end. So
I'm David, I love you,
better.
but I love you, man. You worked your ass off. He did. He bust his ass. He bust his ass.
Intentions and results are the things that matter.
And then he had you all over his ass. So I'm surprised you're still alive.
Intention and the end result. Those 2 things. That's what matters.
Hey.
Okay.
So, but we do have
amount of work you do in between, irrelevant.
All right.
Intention and result.
Yeah, that you do. That is, yeah.
Yeah, but it's the fucking truth. That's the fucking truth. Your intention and the result. The 2 things that matter in life.
I hope I can still go to race time events. I do, because I want to go.
We'll be fine. Okay.
Good
night.
Dude. You know what? Let's do our outro because you know what? Thank you to everybody that supports us. We greatly appreciate it. To all the NNRC squad around the world. Thank you to all of the patrons of the podcast. If you wish to become a patron of the podcast, you can. There's a link in the written description of this podcast. We greatly appreciate you guys' support. We're going to do a Patreon-only podcast sometime between here and now, I think, when my voice comes back. I want to shout out to all the awesome companies that support the podcast. Invisible Speed, TNR Fuels, High Tech RC, Beach RC, TZO Tires, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, Mayako, JQSM, Clinic RC, RaceCraft USA, G-Spec RC Tuning, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, JTP RC. Joseph, got anything to say before we got out of here?
Piss off, everyone.
That's what I was thinking. Anyway, Nitro Is The Glory, Buggy pays the bills. If you ain't grinding and sliding, this is not the last podcast ever. It's just an April Fool's joke, everybody. We'll see you next week.